everyone. Welcome to this week's Tuesday Tips. Are you feeling stretched thin, maybe caught between caring for your children and also supporting your aging parents? If so, you're not alone. In fact, you're part of a rapidly growing group known as the sandwich generation. And if you're in it, I'm sure you've heard that term. So adults who are raising children, doesn't matter how old they are, even if they're in college, while also caring for aging parents or relatives. So, did you know that nearly 1 in 4 adults in the United States, which is about 54 million people, are part of the sandwich generation? They're balancing the needs of both children and aging parents. And this comes from Pew Research Center in 2022. Also from Pew and AARP is a statistic that says more than 60% of sandwich generation caregivers report feeling overwhelmed by the responsibilities, and at least 40% say they rarely have time for themselves. So, hi everyone, I am Pam Dunwald, and RN, and I'm co-founder of Your Nurse Advocate Consulting. Welcome to this week's Tuesday Tips. If you're new here, every week we share practical, compassionate advice to help you navigate the challenges of caregiving, especially when life gets really busy. So today's topic is one I know you're living right now, those of you that are staying with us and catching us live. And also thank you for those that are going to catch us on the replay on our YouTube channel. So we're talking about how to share caregiving responsibilities when school starts. Maybe you got into a routine over the summer. Summer is coming to an end, and now we need all new routines and all new schedules. So let's start with setting the scene. Why back to school time is really kind of a pressure cooker for caregivers. So, let's be real. August and September can feel like a whirlwind, depending on where you live, what part of the country. Maybe you're in an area where your kids go to school year round, and maybe this isn't going to be such a big issue for you. But those of you that have summers off, whether you start in August or September, this is the time of year where you're getting ready, school supplies, school clothes shopping, haircuts, sports physicals, all of those things. So you're juggling new routines, and now you're also going to be adding in extracurricular activities with those kids. And plus, on top of all of that, you still are wearing that hat of making sure that your aging loved ones have what they need. For many, this is when really the cracks start to show. You may become fatigued, show signs of stress, maybe even resentment, sometimes of having to provide the care or manage the care of your aging loved ones. And if you are in the sandwich generation, caring for both your children as well as your aging parents, you might feel really, really stretched thin, like you're being pulled in way too many directions. And that's extremely understandable. But you know what? You're not failing. So please don't think that. You're doing the work of 3 people, and it's okay to need help. So let's turn the page to why sharing caregiving responsibilities matters. I'm one of these people, get out of my way. I'll handle it. I'll do it. I take on all this stuff. I've learned to say no when that was really hard for me to do. I would take on more than I could handle, and it really wore on me. So I'm speaking to those of you like me out there. So if you just keep saying, bring it on, I can handle it, there will come a time where you can't handle it anymore. And caregiving is a team sport, and it really is. And no one, or should no one, have to do it alone. So let's talk a little bit about sharing responsibilities. Why this is a good thing is it prevents burnout. We're gonna in the resource section, and I'll drop it in the comments here. I'm going to share in a few minutes just a video that we have on recognizing the signs of caregiver burnout. But it prevents burnout, improves the quality of care for your loved one. Just think about it. If you're happier around your loved one, they're happier. Everybody's happy. If mama's happy, everybody's happy. And that includes grandma or your aging loved one. So it also strengthens family relationships, even if it's tough at first, trying to coordinate everybody and bringing in more help. Think about it. Your aging loved one gets the benefit of different people, different conversations, different things, and you get a break. So models teamwork and empathy for your kids. It's a really good life lesson for your kids, and maybe kids can even participate in some way. Obviously, we don't want to put a burden on the kids unnecessarily, but maybe they can help grandpa out with technology or how to use their pad, or be able to look at their phone and see pictures that some family member has just uploaded from a family vacation this summer, or things like that, or reading, or playing cards, or doing something that both of them can enjoy, but that also helps give you a little break. So how do you actually share the load, especially when everybody's busy? You're busy, everybody's busy, we're all busy. So let's talk about a few practical tips for sharing the caregiving responsibility, especially when school starts and things are starting to get kind of hectic. So here's some actionable tips. The first one is I'm a huge component, hold a family meeting. When my mom's healthcare status changed, and basically it was overnight. She went from being independent, driving, using her scooter, going to the mailbox, all of this till, a 9-day hospitalization, a short stay in a nursing home, and completely, changed. She's no longer able to live on her own. And so things can, if there is a change in health condition, please hold a family meeting. We did Zooms. That was our method of communication. You do whatever method of communication that works well within your family structure, your family circle, what everybody is comfortable with. And we had a family meeting. We looked at, okay, what are the needs now? What's changed? How do we handle this together? Who is good at what? Who has the expertise, the knowledge, the background, the skill to do certain parts of things? So we divide up the responsibilities based on our, what we call our zone of genius, based on what we're good at. So everybody brings something to the table, whether it's siblings, partners, grandchildren, older kids. Lay out the fall schedule: school, sports, doctor appointments, and caregiving needs. So with a shared calendar, this can be amazing. Everybody puts in a shared calendar, when they can't help, or if they want to put, sporting, be specific, that's fine. But you know what? In a shared calendar, if you want to keep some privacy, you can just say on a certain day and time, you could just say unavailable. It's not like you have to. If you're not a close-knit family and you really don't want to share all the personal details of why you're not available, then just put unavailable or put busy. But this really helps everybody see what everybody else has on their plate, and they're not starting to feel like, oh gosh, I'm trying to fit this in. Well, so is everybody else, and that goes a long way to understand and put yourself in your siblings or your other family members' shoes. So digital tools like a Google Calendar or a big wall calendar in your aging parents or your aging loved one's home, where everybody can see it, color code it for each family member. Google Calendar, Outlook, they all have capabilities of color coding. And so they make it pretty simple. So, maybe your sister is great with finances. Mine is. We have my sister who's right under me. She's number 2 of the 5 of us. She's in accounting, and she can handle the bills. She's on my mom's checking account, and we're all okay with it because that's her area of expertise. So assign roles based on strengths and availability. So those are your 3 tips. And we've got one more for you. We've got tip number 4 is a big one. And we want to set clear expectations and boundaries. Be honest about what you can do and what you can't do. It's okay to say, I can't drive mom to appointments, but I can do a grocery run. So there's give and take from everybody. Just be clear and with what you can do and what you can't do. And, things change. Set a 15-minute call each week to update each other and adjust as needed. Keep the shared calendar up to date. That's a great way of being able to see who's got some available time in case something happens last minute. So what are some special challenges of the sandwich generation? If you're raising kids and caring for parents at the same time, like we mentioned before, this is what we call the sandwich generation. And your challenges can be unique. I am not part of the sandwich generation. My kids are all grown. We've got 20 grandkids. And so we're in a different season. So in helping to care for aging parents, we're not juggling our kids. But those of you that are, your challenges really are unique. So you've got double scheduling, school drop-offs, maybe overlap with parent appointments or things like that. You've got emotional labor. So you've got not only supporting your aging parents, but you're supporting your kids' emotions and also your parents' health concerns. And then there's that guilt, feeling like you're not enough for everyone, feeling like you're failing everyone, including yourself. So these are some of the challenges that are specific to the sandwich generation. So here's some advice that we'd like to share. Prioritize what's urgent and important. Plan for the worst, hope for the best, so that you're never caught with your pants down, so to speak. So prioritize what's urgent and important. Secondly, let go of perfection. That was super, super, super hard for me. I had to do it. I was driving my sister crazy as a nurse. Put me on the phone every time she goes to the doctor. Every time you talk to someone, give me the update. Let me review it. Let me look at this. And my sister's like, I'm intelligent. I'm in accounting. I can handle this. And so you got to sometimes let go of that perfection, because you may driving people crazy and you really don't realize that. And sometimes good enough is truly enough. So involve your kids, thirdly, in caregiving in age appropriate ways. It's a great way to build empathy and responsibility, and showing how caring for another human being is a really can provide you with really good feelings and feeling good about yourself. So when family activities pull you in different directions, what do? Back to school often means sports, lessons, band, events, sometimes all at once. My two oldest children, my son was in wrestling, my daughter was in gymnastics. They clashed. When the wrestling team was at home in high school, that meant my daughter was away for gymnastics and vice versa. And trying to, handle all that was tough. And I wasn't caring for an aging parent at that time. So throw that into the mix and you really have got, a lot to handle. So how can you keep caregiving from falling through the cracks? So plan ahead, review every week on Sunday. And I got into this habit and I love it. Sunday night, winding down, before we go to bed, I'm relaxing. I pull out my calendar. I plan the week. So when I get up on Monday morning, ready to hit the work week, I know what to expect for the week. I'm all psyched up for it and I'm ready to go. Where's the pinch points? Look at, as you're planning your week, rather than Thursday morning, looking at the calendar, oh shoot, I'm double booked for Thursday afternoon. If you know that on Monday, that gives you more time to find another family member or friend or maybe someone from your faith community to be able to help out. So ask for help. You can't be at two places at one time, and just look for start building that circle of helpers. People like to help, but they just need to be asked, because they don't want to step on your toes and make you feel that you can't handle it. So oftentimes they're willing to help, but you got to ask. So use technology, video calls, medication reminders, group text. They can keep everyone in the loop. That's our most often used method of communication is a siblings. We call it super siblings, and it's our siblings text chat. And there's something going on every day when it comes to my mom, just keeping everybody in the loop and knowing that we're continuing to keep all the balls in the air. So remember, flexibility is your friend. It's something, if something doesn't go as planned, give yourself some grace. It's okay. So lastly, we've got winding down to, and I know this is going a little bit longer today, but it's just really important information. So section number 6, I want to briefly touch on sibling dynamics, sharing the load without the drama. Siblings can be your greatest allies or your biggest challenge. In our family, again, it's my sister. My sister that's in accounting is right smack dab in the middle of two other sisters. Me is the oldest. I'm the nurse. And then number 3 sister is a nurse practitioner. So she's surrounded by all these medical professionals, and she's the one that's housing and caring for mom. So we have to be cognizant of that. And then 2 boys bring up the rear. And so, communication is really important. And remember, these are the same siblings that you fought over for the last piece of bacon. They've seen you at your best. They've seen you at your worst. They've seen you sick. They've seen you mad. They whatever you do doesn't impress them. So you got to remember that. So you have to take that into consideration when you're working with your siblings. But if everyone comes together for the common good of making sure that your aging loved one has the best care possible, you can overcome just about anything. And we're going to be sharing, this month, some more resources on that. So communicate openly, use I statements, focus on your loved one's needs. Avoid the blame game. When you, it's always try and use I, or, mom this, or dad that, or mom does best, So try and choose your words a little bit carefully. And sometimes you got to think about it before you speak. Not everyone can give the same amount of time or money. So find ways for everyone to contribute. Don't get, spiteful if you have a sibling or a family member that maybe doesn't have the extra income or the extra cash disposable income that maybe someone else does. So maybe they give more money, but maybe the other one can give more time. So consider everything, all the tasks, any way that your siblings or family can contribute. Consider that as a contribution. Don't measure contributions by what they are. Just measure the fact that they're being able to contribute. Find ways. So we've got many free resources for you. Best way for you is to go to yournurseadvocate.com, click on the tab free resources, search siblings, family caregiving. We've got a family caregiving meeting agenda guide for you. We've got a checklist, a sibling's guide to caring for your aging parents. We've got parent coaching resources, MKG parent coaching. Mary, I've collaborated with her many times. She is a great parent coach. Sometimes you need, the kid side is maybe suffering a little bit. Maybe you need a little extra help with that. So we've done many presentations together on sandwich generation. So these are great resources. So with Your Nurse Advocate Consulting, we can help put a plan in place. Sometimes a third party can come in and help mediate with a family and try and put to rest some of the feelings and just try and get the focus on, okay, what's the plan to care for our aging loved ones? And so check out the links. I'm going to put them in there. And if you're watching the video on the replay, we will have all these links and free resources in the video description on our YouTube channel. So don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you can get, if you miss a live, you can always go back there and catch the replay. So remember, sharing caregiving responsibilities isn't about logistics. It's about building a support system for you and your loved ones. So you're doing important work, and it's okay to ask for help. So if you found today's tips helpful, please like, share, comment below, and please share your own strategies for how you juggle this. I mean, everybody has different ways, and you may have a tip that I didn't mention, and somebody in our community would be able to benefit for that. So if you have any special tips about handling, managing kids and school and aging adults, please drop in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And again, take care of yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup, and I always say that. But we will see you back here next week. So take care, and we'll see you back here soon.